Farasitha, Krakleath.
No! We are found! How did this mortal know our trick?
Wait! I recognize their souls. These two have been here before.
Look, twins! How adorable!
Oh!
Play with us!
We have neither the time nor inclination to play. We have come to see Urianger.
Oh yes, Urianger, the peculiar one. In return for a place in Mheg, he agreed to a riddle contest with us for 7 days and 7 nights without any sleep.
Oh, that was so much fun! We must do it again!
I'm sure he'd be delighted. Now, if you'd be so kind as to lift your spell.
Shall we? Should we?
Would we?
What now?
I don't know, but this is their home, so we must indulge them.
Right, we've made up our minds. We will lift our spell on one condition, that you first lend us a helping hand. Or 2, or 3. Once you've helped solve all of our troubles, we'll let you see Urianger. Pixie's honor.
Well, there you have it. Pixie chores. I suggest we split up.
late! Late! I've been waiting for you to summon me ever since you came here. Waiting and waiting and waiting. But my sapling didn't so much as utter my name. Such a heartless thing he is. Cold and cruel and heartless!
Another self-important little brat. Just what we need.
Reminds me of my childhood. All right, I'm sorry. It was a joke. Honestly, just a joke.
But just now you called for me so earnestly, so fervently. I couldn't possibly stay angry at you. Very well. As your lovely branch, I will lend you my strength.
Well. If it isn't Theo the Mold Feel. It's been too long.
Not long enough for you to think of any new games, though, apparently. If I were you, I'd be bored of myself. Now let me make something clear. That mortal is mine. No matter what you do, he will never be yours. Never, never, ever!
Oh, not even a bit. But what about the others? Surely we can keep them.
No, you can't keep them either. They're for my amusement and mine alone. And if you lay so much as a finger on my sapling, I'll scatter the contents of his bag all over your precious village. There'll be cold, hard metal, furry, festering food, stinky, sweaty small clothes, and all manner of other terrible, unmentionable things. How would you like that,
All right. But will you not at least let us play with the twins? Just while the others go and see Urianger?
Aye, that's all we ask. And we promise we'll play nicely.
It seems we won't be joining you.
Aye! We'll reveal the hidden Fernic to you at once.
So this is the true Mheg.
How are you feeling?
Better. I think I remember the way now.
Apologies for the delay. Shall we go and see Urianger?
Your lovely branch is useful, yes? So whenever you're in trouble, you must remember to make use of me!
Urianger, are you in?
Unto a world weary of heroes, a hero wends his way. The Exarch did send word that thou wouldst seek me out, but ne'er did I imagine thou wouldst arrive so soon. Full glad am I to see thee once more, my friend, and none the worse for thy travails.
Run along, Minfilia. We will meet you outside.
But
Another one for you to imbue, if you'd be so kind.
I take it thou hast met with our other comrades already? That Master Alphino and Mistress Alize now travel in thy company is of great comfort to me. As for the rest, it beginneth in earnest. The hunting of the Light Wardens, and perforce the war with Yulmore. Hark thee then to my words, and through them behold the vision that I did glimpse, that of the 8th Umbral Calamity. As I drifted hither to the first, traversing the boundary twixt reality and potentiality, I did bear witness to events yet to come. There I saw the combined forces of Eorzea and the Far East offering fierce resistance to the legions of Garlemald. So fierce, in fact, that they did begin to push the enemy back. Ilm by painful ilm at first, then Yalm by Yalm, and Malm by Malm in time. Yet the joy they felt was short-lived, for in so doing they did force the Empire's hand. Faced with defeat, the Garleans turned to a weapon most vile: Black Rose. Its potency defied all reckoning. Once released, the gas took on a life of its own, wreaking untold carnage not only in Eorzea, but in the provinces of the Empire besides. From fighters upon the front lines to babes in their beds, none were spared. And as the casualties became too numerous to count, so did the fabric of civilization begin to unravel. Nor did the land itself escape unscathed. For spreading from the site of its release, Black Rose brought death to the very soil. To survive amidst the chaos and upheaval, men came to live by the sword, the rule of law giving way, inevitably, to the rule of might. Thus was the spark struck and the fire kindled, and swiftly did it spread as a blaze in a field of straw to engulf every corner of the world. Nations worthy of the name did then cease to exist. And those souls brave and true who might have risen to restore order were no more. For the weapon spared not one, not even thee. An endless age of war, begotten by the blight of Black Rose. Such is the legacy of the 8th umbral calamity which I did behold. No matter the cost, we must forestall this tragedy. To that end, I have labored during my sojourn in this world, discovering in so doing the answer to a pressing mystery. That of Black Rose's inexplicable potency. Come. Dost thou recognize yonder chart? Indeed. 'Tis a rendering of the elemental wheel, such as one might find in classrooms across the source. As the chart maketh plain, our world is composed of 6 elements, in addition to which there exist 2 poles in fundamental opposition. Astral, the active; umbral, the passive. As a reflection of the source, the first naturally compriseth the selfsame forces. Yet, curiously, there is a notable divergence in their nomenclature. To be specific, the denizens of this world employ not the terms astral and umbral. Thus was I moved to inquire what names said forces had been assigned. A simple question which yielded a most unexpected answer. Upon demanding the name of the pole aligned with activity and growth, I was told that as life's myriad colors combine to produce black, the people of the first had called it darkness. At this, did my mind begin to race. Yet 'twas only when I asked what name had been given to the pole aligned with passivity that mine eyes were opened to the truth. Peace and tranquility being as purest white, unmarred by color, I was told it had been given the name of light.
That's umbral light and astral darkness, yes? I'm no etherologist, but it strikes me that the nomenclature of the first is rooted in the generation of the 2 forces, while our own appears to focus on their effects. Which makes one wonder, have we had it backwards all this time?
'Tis indeed a compelling question, and one which beareth closer examination. Yet what knowledge we already possess sufficeth to explain the chain of events. The phenomenon of etheric thinning observed in the source is the consequence of light, the power of stasis, flowing in from the first to stifle the movement of ether within the land. And according to Master Alphino, Black Rose slayeth by halting the circulation of ether within living beings. Should such a weapon be unleashed even as the first were rejoined, replete as it is with light,
We would have a disaster of untold proportions on our hands. A calamity. Well, at least we have a better grasp of what we're facing. Our objective, however, remains unchanged. We are to eliminate the Light Warden of Mheg. Speaking of which, were you able to ascertain its whereabouts?
Aye. 'Tis all but certainly ensconced within Leergear, the castle which standeth in the midst of the lake. To enter said stronghold, we must needs turn to the pixies for aid. Fortunately, I have become quite adept at courting their cooperation. Henceforth shall I accompany you, and do all in my power to ensure that my vision doth not come to pass. 'tis done. The pixies shall be well pleased with these gifts. Ah, lest I forget. White auracite, newly forged for thy use. Our mission being to thwart a rejoining, we will most assuredly cross paths with those who crave the contrary, our eternal enemies. Thus did I choose to abide in this ether-rich land, the better to fashion a trap for the Ascian's essence.
May I come in now?
You may indeed, assuming you've finished.
I did as you asked.
That's my girl, thank you. I should probably explain. Though my body remained behind in the source, its limitations saw fit to accompany me, which is to say, I cannot manipulate ether. I took up the gunblade for its defensive advantages, but on account of my little impairment, I cannot imbue the ammunition myself. Luckily for me, Minfilia has quite a talent for it.
Minfilia, once we set forth, we are not like to return for some while. If thou wouldst choose tomes to take with thee, let it be now.
Really? May I?
Of course, my dear. Yet have care thou dost not add overmuch to thy burden, lest I incur Thancred's ire. Hast thou spoken to him of thine encounter with the Minfilia of Eld?
Well, I suppose now is as good a time as any. As you know, I freed young Minfilia from captivity in Yulmore some 3 years past. Not long after, the two of us journeyed to the south of Mheg, to the edge of the Empty, where the flood was halted. 'Twas there that she awakened. The Minfilia of old. My Minfilia.
Tell me, what must I do to bring you back?
My dearest Thancred, as I am now, I am no different from an Ascian. This child is but a vessel. One of many I have used that I might spread word of her enduring blessing and preserve the flame of hope. In my name, each has died, never having lived her own life. I have taken enough from these children. I will take no more.
But what of your suffering? Your sacrifice? This isn't fair! I will not stand for it. I cannot! There must be something we can do. Tell me!
Should the day come when this child grows weary of fighting and wishes to cast it all aside, then shall I take up her burden. But should she wish instead to become the master of her own destiny, then shall I bequeath to her my all. Imbued with the strength that I reserve for rebirth, she may come to wield my powers as her own.
And what of my wishes? What of Flamine's? What of all the people who love and care for you and want nothing more than to see you again?
It is not their decision to make. It is hers. This child's. This Minfilia's. You have ever watched over me, Thancred. Now I ask that you do the same for her. Protect her. Teach her. Stand by her as you stood by me. There is much and more she does not know. She needs a guide to show her the ways of the world, or she will never find her own path. When the time comes, you will find me here. Until that day.
Minfilia, wait!
What happened?
And then she was gone. Minfilia, the girl, claims to have no recollection of any of it. I have told her many things, where we came from, what we fight for, but of that day, I have not spoken.
With the coming of another possessed of the blessing of light, the first hath begun to rise up in defiance of its fate. The question remaineth, however, who shall take up the flame of hope which Minfilia hath borne for so long? Whether we will it or no, the choice must soon be made.
I'm sorry I took so long. It was so hard to choose. In the end, I settled on just the one.
That is well. Now, if all is in order, let us set forth for Lida Loran.
Here we go!
Prepare yourself! I shall protect thee. Together we shall overcome this. Prepare yourself!
Now I've got you.
I shall protect thee.
Keep your guard up!
Thy time hath not yet come.
got you. I'll show you.
Well fought, well fought!
Bravo!
Amazing! Jolly good show.
Oh, you do not hold back. But I would have it no other way. Seldom have I enjoyed such sport.
We have satisfied thy demands. Wilt thou now satisfy ours?
Of course. Of course. There it is, the relic you seek. Yours for the taking. Have care you do not break it, though, yes? Ah, but you, my friend, you are mighty indeed, and pleasing to the eye besides.
More? I want to see more of him!
Yes! Yes! I could watch him forever!
Why don't we just make him one of us? Yes! One of us!
One of us, one of us, one of us!
One of us! One of us! One of us!
One of us! One of us! One of us!
What a fine idea! Why ever didn't I think of that? You may have the crown, but in exchange, we will have you!
Wake up! Wake up, damn you!
Ah, you're alive. Thank the gods. I don't know where you learned to breathe underwater, but it's lucky you can. I'm sure you had your reasons, but the first rule of dealing with the Fwaath is do not deal with the Fwaath. It's said that they are born from the souls of the drowned. Were it not for your little trick, you'd have joined them. Your friends are safely back on dry land, in case you were wondering. They'll be searching for you, I expect. That's the royal capital of the Kingdom of Verbert down there. It's seen better days. They were a stubborn lot, the Verbertites. Set in their ways. But once you got to know them, you couldn't find a more welcoming people. It always froze over in winter, being up in the mountains. So we'd pull up our chairs round the fire and trade tales over steaming bowls of lamb stew, while the street lamps burned hot and bright outside. All dead and buried now. Them and anyone else you might remember. Everything we did. Everything we gave. What was it for? I wonder... I hope you'll have a better answer than this when all's said and done.
Oh, thank goodness. There you are. Those Numo were rather frightening. I'm glad you're safe. I haven't seen much actual combat, so I was a little nervous, but I'm happy I could help. The Minfilius before me battled Sin Eaters as part of the Yulmoran army. But that had all changed by the time I was found. They held me captive, so that I wouldn't follow in the others' footsteps. I'd still be in my cell now had Thancred not spirited me away. When he found me, I knew nothing of the world. I didn't know how to live, let alone fight. Thancred once told me that if the efforts to summon you failed, it would fall to me to face the Light Wardens. I realized then that it was the only reason he kept me close. As a contingency. The truth is, he can't stand to be around me. Because I'm not her. I'm not his Minfilia. Once, we journeyed to Nabatha together, to the place where the Oracle appeared and stayed the flood. As we drew near, I felt as though I was fading away. I shut my eyes and covered my ears, and then... I'm not sure what happened after that. I have a vague feeling that I said something to him. Only it wasn't me at all. It was her. Afterwards, Thancred didn't say a word. Only kept to himself and brooded. There's nothing I can do for him. Nothing I can offer but my presence. Though it only reminds him of his loss. She should be the one to live on. That's why I tried to find you. Because I knew that was what she wanted. But now that you're here, I'm not entirely sure what it was she intended me to do. Was I meant to tell you something, or bring you to someone, or somewhere? I can feel the answer at the edge of my mind, just out of reach. What is that?
Why? Why did you imprison us? Such boredom, such tedium have we suffered. It is unfair. Unfair. Come. Come and play with us.
It came from the castle. This is everything I have. Please see it delivered to the Numo. I will bear word to Thancred and the others.
Ah, my medallion! You found it! Oh, I know not how to thank you. It is my most treasured possession. A gift from a dear departed soul. He was a traveler, and together we journeyed to the ends of the world and back again. When I was young. In those days, I could not speak. But we found joy in each other's company nonetheless. Oh, the memories. This medallion he found during an adventure. Fashioned it into a necklace for me, his partner in crime. I had not the words to tell him then, but it filled my heart with pride. I was so happy. His name was Artbert, and he was my friend.
Ardbert, thou sayest?
Everyone blamed him for the flood. Him and his comrades. Some few spoke up for them, of the many whose lives they had touched. But as the years went by, their voices were drowned out by those who only uttered the adventurers' names as a curse. It was too much to bear, and so I left behind men and their lies, and came to this place. Ardbert was a trusting soul, constantly being drawn into the troubles of others. Yet, in spite of this, he never thought twice when he saw someone in need. He always tried to help. It was no different then. The world needed heroes. It needed him. And yet, he was a good man. He deserved to be happy. I wish I could have told him that, at least. You remind me of him. Your kindness. When we Amaro were created, we were granted the ability to perceive souls. Thus did we recognize our masters. That ability has long since faded from our kind. But due, perhaps, to my reversion, I can see your soul. Faintly, but surely. It is reminiscent of Ardbert's. Strikingly so. Of course, you are you and no one else. We are defined not by the soul we are born with, but the path we walk. Nevertheless, I cannot help but feel that this is more than mere coincidence. Which is why I will place my faith in you. The relic. It is yours.
There's trouble! Terrible trouble!
Has something happened at Lida Loran?
Together with the twins, we were playing tricks on some nasty mortals to stop them from setting foot in Mheg. At first they ran off screaming, which was lots of fun. But then a scary, bony, wrinkly old mortal came along and spoiled everything. None of our tricks seemed to work on him, which is no fun at all. And now they're getting closer and closer.
Ranjit. If he manages to find his way in, all our efforts will have been for naught.
As thou sayest. Should we be discovered ere our mission here is complete, and the Light Warden yet liveth, our task will be rendered nigh impossible. If we are to prevail, we must needs divide our forces. Thus do I propose the following. Whilst thou salliest forth to meet with the Light Warden, we shall join in the effort to obstruct the trespassers. Should we succeed in staying their advance, all the better. Yet even should we fail, if we can but delay our enemy's arrival long enough for thee to secure victory, our plan may still be deemed a success.
So the moment the lights go out, we all beat a hasty retreat, yes?
Let me come with you. I have the blessing too.
No, Minfelia. You'll only get underfoot. Now come.
I wish there were more I could do. Please be careful.
For the night is bright and you can sleep when you're dead. Wait. When you play with fire. We're sick of this cramped old castle. Let's play in the forest. Twisted spreads. Bigger's better. And dance like the leaves on the grass. much fun! Let's play some more. We can play no more.
You have freed our fallen king. Not that I expected any less, my Snayak. The dress, the crown, the scepter, the shoes. The time has come for these relics to serve their true purpose. For they are not only keys to the castle, they are also blessings to be bestowed upon the new king. The way into the castle is opened when it is time to relieve the reigning monarch of the throne. And the brave soul who does the deed has the honor of taking their place. However, should you ascend the throne, you will become one of us, never again to live as men do. My adorable sapling, my precious mortal. We Fae folk live forever, but such is not your virtue. To strive for a dream you will never see, to sow seeds that others might one day taste the fruits of your garden, that is the beauty of your kind. Burn bright and shine as only you can. These blessings, your lovely branch will accept in your stead. Hinla, Ilichla, Mheg, Okbra. Now, shall we attend to those unwise enough to trespass in our realm?
Confound it! How did they get here so fast?
Damn these pixies and their tricks!
How in the seven hells?
Listen well. We come in pursuit of villains who have fled to this land. You know who and where they are. Now show yourselves and answer me before I lose my patience.
Oh, stop! It hurts! It hurts!
Enough! Lift the enchantment!
Minfilia, willful child. How many times must I come to collect you?
I won't return to Yulmore. And I won't let you hurt my friends.
What is this stance? Where did you learn it? No oracle I trained would make such an unseemly show of herself. Know your shame, gal. You're powerless. You have no life nor purpose, save that which our master sees fit to permit.
Who are you to dictate her purpose? To lock her away and deny her a life? If she was powerless, it's because of you, you sanctimonious swine. But no longer.
Fool! Defiance only begets more suffering. It is through acceptance alone that one may find solace in this god's-forsaken world.
Look! The sky! He's done it. The Warrior of Darkness has triumphed!
General? What are our orders? What do we do?
We do what we came to do. Subdue this rabble and find the Warrior of Darkness.
Forward, men! Take the villains captive! Are you deaf? I said...
Axla Orwain! Axla Orwain!
What? What's happening?
Water? That wasn't there before. Ah!
Orwaik Kansasi, Orwaik Kinsi.
Help me!
What's the matter with you? Get a hold of yourselves, damn it! General, they come in greater numbers. We must retreat!
All who stand with a warrior of darkness shall face justice. My master demands it.
I see. Well, it's a good thing Faerie volunteered to become king in your stead, for all our sakes.
We are grateful for your timely aid, Faerie, or should I say, your majesty.
It was the first night in recent memory. We all of us but wished to make the most of it. That's something you must remember about us Fae folk. Though our existence may be eternal, we exist only for the present. We live in the here and now, paying no mind to futures that may or may not be. To wit, we are not driven as men are. We cannot fight for such causes as men do.
Does that mean you won't aid us against the Sin Eaters?
Not unless the mood takes us. But if it was to repay a debt, well then, that's another matter. To take back as much as is taken. To create as much as is destroyed. To give as much as is received. Such is the way of Mheg. By this law, we shall lend you our strength. In return for the beautiful sky you have restored to us. In times of need, do not hesitate to call. Silly sapling. I shall remain at your side. Even should my body be in the castle, 'tis a simple thing to have a little part of me accompany you. Treat them as you would your Isnefis.
All seems well at the Crystarium.
Yes. Yulmore was plainly more concerned with finding us. How flattering.
You certainly took your time. I had half resolved to complete the task myself.
And you are...
Were one to study the annals of Garlean history, one would find yonder visage on many a page. Though by rights its youth should long since have faded.
Well, well, we have a historian in our midst. That spares me a lengthy explanation. I am Solus Sos Galvus, founding father of the Garlean Empire, and under various guises, the architect of myriad other imperially inclined nations. As for my true identity... I am Emmett Selk, Ascian.
Gaius spoke of you, a native of the Source.
Equal in rank to La Habrea. And you came all this way just to introduce yourself to us?
Behold the sky, restored to its former glory. Have you ever seen a more affecting spectacle? Oh, it is truly, deeply... infuriating. Do you have any idea how much you have delayed the rejoining? Following the flood, the First had been listing ever further towards the light, towards stasis. The end was in sight. Enter man and his indomitable spirit. He would haul the world back from the brink. And adding his lumpen weight to the power of growth, he duly tipped the scales, if only by a fraction. Yet a fraction was enough to spoil the perfect imbalance needed to bring about a rejoining. Had mankind continued to live in idleness under Vorthri's rule, all the conditions would have been met. But you had to come and ruin it all. Thanks to your meddling, light supremacy is in doubt, and our painstakingly laid plans are in tatters!
Well, I should begin by thanking you for confirming Urianger's theories on the inner workings of the Calamity. He will be most pleased. As for what happens next, might I suggest you admit defeat and walk away?
Happy to let me go, are you? Because the murderous glint in your eye suggests otherwise. Indeed, it is enough to make me think better of confronting you alone. Look, it did cross my mind to simply side with Vorthri and kill you all. But that's no different from what La Habrea did. And we all know how well that ended for him. And so, while it is liable to be troublesome, I have settled upon a different approach. Cooperation. I will not raise a hand to hinder your hunt for the Light Wardens. If you desire it, I will even lend you my knowledge and strength.
Since time immemorial, you and yours have labored to rejoin the 13 shards, at the cost of countless lives. Do you expect us to believe that your objective has suddenly changed?
Nay, our objective is the same as it ever was. Though I dare say, you do not know our motive. A war waged without knowledge of the enemy is no war. It is mere bloodletting. Just once, might we not seek to find common ground? For good or ill, I am immortal. Provided I have the inclination, I can always begin anew, scheme and conspire to my heart's content. But this time I thought that I might instead try to see eye to eye, to understand what drives the hero of the source, to determine if our goals are truly incompatible. So come, shed your preconceptions. See beyond the unscrupulous villains you take us for. When all is said and done, we may find ourselves pleasantly surprised. The proud discoverers of a path of cooperation rather than opposition. Think of it.
Thou hast delivered thy proposal, and we would not dismiss it outright. If I may offer thee counsel, however, to make thy case via an illusion reflecteth poorly upon thy sincerity.
My apologies. You will forgive me if I'm not entirely at ease in the presence of a famed Ascian slayer. I felt it only prudent to take precautions. Nonetheless, your counsel is duly noted.
I take my leave, friends. Rest assured, we shall meet again soon.
From the Exarch, is it? With that mirror of his, he can watch your every move, you know. You'll probably think you're talking to yourself. Still, he's keeping you well fed. Judging by his people's faith in him, he seems to be a decent sort. But so much about him remains shrouded in mystery. Like, what was he doing back in my day? There was no such person when I was around. A lot's happened since the Flood, though. Since I was set adrift. I know little more than you do of this city's history in the Exarch's past. Not that it matters. It's Emmett's Selk we should be concerned about. When our world was about to be consumed by light, the Ascian in white appeared before us. He said that the only way for us to live on was to bring about the rejoining. desperate as we were, we heeded his words, not realizing that the flood was of the Ascians' own making. They cannot be trusted. None of them. But Emmett Selk had one thing right. One should not fight blindly. That's what we did. And it cost us everything we held dear. What? What about Seto? What is there to say? All right. He's done some growing. When we were traveling together, he was nowhere near as big, and he obviously couldn't speak. I had no idea how much that medallion meant to him. What about you, anyway? You must have a friend like Seto. Chocobo, perhaps? Come on, you tell me something for a change.